Brian, thank you. Up next, we have David. David, if you'd go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
Fine, thank you. My main question concerns hypothyroidism.
Right?
I know you've said that we should take thyroid hormone from a pig. That's better than Synthroid. But my concern about taking it from a pig is getting glyphosate from that thyroid hormone. So my question is there anything I can do to deal with that if that's an issue? And secondly, is there anything I can do to heal from hypothyroidism beyond just constantly having to be on medication?
So let's correct what you said to me, or I should say. Number one, I don't tell you immediately out of the gate, take a pharmaceutical drug. That's not what we do here, our medical team at Hippocrates. Are there people that need it because they're in a tailspin? The answer is yes. So let's clarify this. So the two most commonly used are called Synthroid and Thyroxine. There are other names, but they're all pretty much similar. They take care of something called free T3. They don't do much of anything for free T4. So they're not comprehensive in helping you. So it's like if you're falling back and I take a knife, I can hold you up with a knife, but at what cost? So that's Synthroid and Thyroxine and other forms. If you were falling back and one person is on one side of you and I'm on the other side and we gently pull you down, that's like taking the glandulars. Now, it's sad to me they make them out of glandulars. I'm just telling you the best of the evil. I'm not telling you it's not a good thing. Now, our objective, and we can achieve it if people have patience and follow through. Follow through and patience. Patience and follow through. Follow through and patience. Two things we can't get out of most people. Basically, 80% of people can eventually come off all of those meds. And we do it with ionic forms of iodine, selenium, diets, use of electromagnetic and cold laser therapies. The list goes on, and we tailor it to the individual after they get here. Today, 40 people are going to be tested with scans. Most elaborate, sophisticated scans available. By the way, in America, they're called biofeedback testing because we're such a free country. So we're doing biofeedback testing. And from that, we can actually pinpoint what your source of concern is and what route you can currently take. But you've got to adjust that. So what you need today, you won't need 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. So again, to repeat what I said, I'm not saying first go to pork, or first go to bovine. I'm saying first, get your lifestyle changed. Second, if you have to be on that, and many of you that have been on Synthroid and Thyroxine have to be on one of those, you can't just come off it. You're going to go into a tailspin. Have your doctor tell your doctor. Don't suggest it. Tell you, this is what I want. Now, if you're religious, this is a problem. Because, religious Jews and Muslims, they can't take this. But in Judaism, I don't know about the Muslim as well, but the fact is your health supersedes all else. Now, once you get on something that is you being held by two people, not being held by a knife, then at that point, you slowly, come here would be the wisest thing in the world, but then slowly but surely you work your way to the more natural, and over years, I'll say it again, not over days or months or weeks, I know you're all impatient, over years, 80% of people can reverse this kind of problem.
Brian, thank you. Up next, we have Geraldine. Geraldine, if you'd go ahead and unmute yourself, please. Hi, Geraldine.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, Geraldine.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody involved in this. As always, you do such an outstanding job. My question is, my history was I was a single mom in my 20s. I'm 60. I had both my parents end stage, 10 years with my dad, 20 with my mom. I had a tremendous amount of stress, 2 to 3 jobs at any given time. I'm a management consultant. So when all that passed, I really tried to turn my life around, sprouting. I just joined the Hippocrates lifestyle program. I absolutely love it.
You're doing our online program now?
I just started it, yeah. And I love it. I've been following you for a while. I've been doing Rejuvelac and ferments and, just a lot of trying to eat very, very healthy. I grew 900 plants this year. I have my own gardens. But my thing is, I work for doctors, and because in my past, I'm Irish, both sides. So I had a terrible Irish
I'll
diet
forgive you
growing
for
up.
it. I am too.
Right. You know the diet then growing up. So it was very bad. And in my 20s, I had pneumonia 6 times. I had a lot of antibiotics. I went to Africa on 2 mission trips, and those were humanitarian trips. Those were a lot of vaccines. Then when I got all that behind me, I just really embraced health, and it just opened up. So my question is, now I'm working for several doctors. I can't stay working. I work for dental practices. So it's one of the few professions where the mask comes off. We're highly exposed. Patients won't come in unless we're vaccinated. Doctors aren't going to keep me unless I'm vaccinated. So I went a whole year fighting it and did my own protocol, vitamin D, Rejuvenac, garlic, onion, everything. And I never got COVID. My sister had severe COVID. My son had severe COVID. Both, she lives upstairs, he lives in a different home. So I felt like I didn't need to take it, but it was at the point where I was going to lose my jobs. And also the house that I'm in, it was nobody could come here unless I was vaccinated. So I went and took the first dose of the Pfizer. My immune system fought it extremely hard. I could tell right away. I'm very sensitive to my body. And a couple days later, I had like these pin dots, almost like blood pin dots on my abdomen. And I immediately started, fasting, sprouting, juicing sprouts. I've been taking the raw living spirulina, and I felt like it started to shift out of what I thought was going to be a bad situation. My thing is, now that everyone's telling me to get the second vaccine, I do not want to take it. I'm not going to take it. But my question is that I've been told that if you don't take it, you can invite superbugs like even more. So it's like stopping an antibiotic halfway through, you allow it to actually get worse. I just have a very bad feeling to go forward. And I've understood, even according to the scientists, that you get 80% immunity on the first vaccine, where Johnson & Johnson only gave you 70. Now, I don't even take a flu vaccine. I take no medicine. I honestly shy away from doctors. I don't know, maybe I should have had something, but I just haven't gone to them. So I haven't taken any medicine all these years, other than way back in my 20s or the Africa trip. So can you please advise regarding that? Because I'm very concerned.
So let me comment on the most important part of this question, and that's the superbugs. There is no biochemical reason in my mind, and I'm not a biochemist, that would happen. So if you've contaminated your body with antibodies, antigens from the virus, and a slew of other things they added in this cocktail, to say that you'd be more susceptible if you didn't take the second one is me saying to you, oh, you lost the bottom part of your leg. You'd be more susceptible to not walking if I cut the top part of your leg off. That's about the amount of logic that's in there for me. So if you lost the leg, you can't walk. It doesn't matter if you do 1 or 2, etc. Now, your secondary social commentary is more concerning to me, that we're in a world where your employer becomes an advocate for the pharmaceutical industries and pretty much starts to say to you, you can't work here anymore. You can't make a livelihood. In many cases, you can't feed your family. You won't be able to pay your mortgage or your rent if you don't vaccinate yourself. Now, that's reminiscent to me of what happened during the Second World War. Any of you that know history, I know most Americans don't know history, but you may want to venture into that. And, it's a slippery slope, let's put it that way. So you've got to have somewhere along line, everyone listening to me, the levity of thought and the knowledge. Forget the thought. You may have emotions as BS if you don't have knowledge. So knowledge and levity of thought that determines whether or not you're going to subject yourself to this global experimentation. And the more of you that do, the more likely that these Nazi tactics are going to continue to move forward. They're testing them in the market all over the world. We're on a daily basis speaking to people in every part of the globe, and they're testing things and seeing what sticks and what doesn't stick at this point. But there's no scientific reason in my mind, and maybe you want to talk to a biochemist on this one, or somebody who purports they're an expert on vaccines and make sure they're credentialed to do it, basically, why it would be worse for you not to take the second one. You have no severe allergic reactions from the COVID-19 vaccine, you're going to be okay. If you do, it's more problematic for you. So
CDC says don't take it.
don't take it. I don't know how many of you saw one of the real truths about health participants, Del Bigtree. They pulled him off social media now because he had a wonderful news program called High Wire. He's no longer on there, but you can find him, get on the internet, put his name in. He's now interviewed one of the world's top 5 vaccine authorities who's pro-vaccine, by the way, from Belgium. Please do yourself a service, all of your loved ones a service. Listen to this interview with a guy who's begging the world's population not to move forward with this, who worked with Bill Gates, who worked with the World Health Organization, who is a vaccine advocate, a vaccine research scientist. So you may want to do that, but learn before you go. How far are we willing to go? How much integrity do we have? The CDC just published, if you got a rash with the first Pfizer vaccine, don't get the second. So get on the CDC, Center for Disease Control, and look that up. So if your employer, Nazi employer, basically says that you can't work unless you have it, show them the CDC thing. If he's a doctor, if he goes along with the program, most of these guys are calculating eggheads, so they only go along with the program. They sound like they know what they're doing, but if it's not in writing, they don't do it. Show them that. So your CDC, Center for Disease Control here in the United States of America, tells you, don't do the second one if you got a rash the first time.